Um, Here's the idea here. So I have the IP address set on this VLAN here. This is just some random subnet that I made up. It doesn't really matter. I have an IP helper address right here. That helper address is connected to VLAN 1. So if I was to do show IP in brief, we can see that VLAN 1 does in fact have connectivity to the FortiGate on that particular interface. 9.2.7.1. I think I've ping enabled, so that's kind of the basic setup that's required on the Cisco side of things. So again, we'll do a show run into VLAN 269, and we'll just see that configuration. Really what we're doing is we're saying, hey, this is the range that we want to hand out IP addresses in. This is going to be the helper that we are using. So again, that's going to be the FortiGate. And now the only thing we have to do is go over to this interface, this 172.16.207.1 interface, and go ahead and configure that. And realistically, we're not going to be configuring the interface. The only thing we're really going to be configuring is the DHCP server, and we're going to tell that DHCP server, or this at least this scope, to listen on whatever interface has this range here. So, for example, my interface is lab. It's a VLAN 100. It could be a physical interface. It doesn't make any difference at all as long as there's connectivity here. Um, so we'll ignore all of this fun stuff here, and we'll do configure system DHCP server, and then we can type in show, and we can see all of these lovely things. I think mine is 27. So basically, if you're going to create a new one, just go to 28, 29, 30. You know how that works. Edit 27, we'll type show. And all we're doing here, we're setting the default gateway, we're setting the net mask, we're setting the interface that we're listening on, and we're setting the range. Obviously, just like anything else, we have the full um, suite of things that we can hand out, whether or not it's a DNS server, time server, et cetera, and so forth. Doesn't really matter too much. So let's end that. And then what we're going to do is execute DHCP uh, lease list. And then we're going to look on the lab interface. And we can see that when I plug in a laptop, this is my Windows laptop, I plug it into a port on the Arista switch here. Again, the only connectivity is that 172.16 address. There is no other connectivity between my Arista switch and the FortiGate. So that just proves it is working. Show int status. So inc et5, I think that's right. So there we go. Um, Ethernet 5 is connected on VLAN 269 at 1 gig. So we are getting a lease from the FortiGate. It's coming from the FortiGate, and it is being applied to my HP computer. I did test this with a packet capture. I also do not believe you need a firewall policy to make this happen. I created one just in case, but there have been 0 hits. I basically made a any interface to any interface rule, and I put it at the very top, and I set the um, service to DHCP, so UDP 6768, and I have not seen a single thing. I've done a packet capture. I do see the traffic. I've done a trace. I do see the traffic. So the FortiGate is indeed handing out IP addresses for that 269 subnet, which happens to have 10.1.3.123.0/24. But that should basically be it. Um, there weren't too many things that I ran into. Um, I think my bonehead put a 172.123. So for a 10 minutes, I'm like, why isn't this working? And then I realized I had the wrong subnet. So, but yeah, very basic, not much needed, kind of the meat of the configuration. um, is that. And the other meat of the configuration is really just going to be this DHCP server. So what I would do is if I was going to make 28, I would just, copy this, put it in Notepad, change that to 28, change my gateway, change my IP addresses, and that's fine. As long as the Arista switch or Cisco switch can reach the FortiGate on the interface, which is going to be handling the DHCP, that's all they will need.